There is nothing random at all. We are that powerful and we're creating the whole thing. It would certainly seem that way, but that's only due to amnesia. We pick our family, we pick the soul contracts, we pick the people that we're going to have these experiences. So that is a soulmate. That's what that is. Because of the identifications and the attachments that we made, we kind of block the perfect partner. Sometimes souls will have to quote unquote recover from soul contracts to who is showing up in our life, the relationships that we're going through, the temporary energetic placeholders that we are using or misusing or misappropriating. It's the same actors and actresses that keep showing up here. It's kind of like all the things that we focus on here, right? Will not be the area of focus once we leave our body. It'll be all the things that we missed.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exclusive interview on the RJ Spina channel. RJ's here with me now. RJ, how's it going?
I can't see you past your mustache.
I was going to come on like this, but I figured I'd own it. You know what I mean? You only get to be a sexy boat captain a few times in your life.
I can sum it up in one word: stunning.
Yeah. I've been practicing a few lines since I got it. You're under arrest, ma'am.
Whoa. You had me, by the way. There's a different level of power that you are now possessing with that stash. I like it. I
can also sing now, RJ.
Freddie Mercury songs. Only Freddie Mercury songs. Yep, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
It's the power of the stash. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it, RJ. In this one, we're going to be talking about attracting people into our lives. So this is going to be a lot of fun. But before we jump into it, it's very timely. We're actually doing a new class coming up, RJ, right? On attracting perfect life partner, business partner, all that good stuff. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, that's going to start in just a few weeks. I've never done a class like this. One of my goals or agendas is to offer new classes, new teachings, new understandings in 2025. And in alignment with that is this new course, Attract the Perfect Partner. And we're going to talk about, because it's a science, it's just like manifesting whatever. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to address the romantic side, the friendship side, and the business partner side. There are actual metaphysics in terms of attracting the absolute right person for you in love, life, and business. And this will shed light on things that are right now bathed in darkness. And of course, like all my classes and courses, it'll be live. There'll be homework assignments. There will be exercises, protocols. So you actually have a tangible shift. The focus has never been mental understanding. That's got nothing to do with anything. But this is really exciting. I'm happy to teach it. And yeah, it's coming up in just a few weeks.
Excellent. So RJ, with that being said, let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, how big of a role do the people in our lives play, in terms of our happiness, well-being, and our success that we have?
I would say, I couldn't help myself. I would say that the relationships that we have the biggest impact on the quality of our life and the trajectory of our life, or the opposite of trajectory. It's essential that we are with the quote unquote right person. They have the biggest impact. The number one relationship that determines really all our other relationships is the relationship that we have with ourselves. That's number one, and that plays itself out in every interpersonal relationship that we have. So once we start to understand that, and we start to understand the impact of the partner that we have, the friends that we keep, those that are around us, the mixing of the energies, it is the single biggest impact that it has on the quality of our life and the trajectory of our life. It has to do with the relationships that we have.
Absolutely. So last month, RJ, we really focused on manifestation. This month is more about relationships. But I would imagine that, even with regards to our manifestation, the people that surround us probably play a role in us being able to bring things, into our reality that we want. Wouldn't you say so?
Well, 100%. And I think a lot of this is not fully understood about how this works. And for now, let's just use an analogy, right? If your room that you walk into is freezing, right? You got the air conditioning set on kill, right? It's really cold in there. It's going to be difficult to operate in a way that is comfortable and normal for the way that you would normally operate. You're going to struggle. You're going to have to work against it. You may never actually get to the point where you feel normal and acclimated to that temperature, and so that you're not going to be able to do the things that you would normally do. So we can, just as an analogy, we can start to see how the energies that we are mixing with, and that's just an analogy to use temperature, but it's a massive effect. I think it's often discounted in terms of, well, I can just operate independently, completely detached, and they'll have no effect on me. You're going to learn through this course that is absolutely untrue, and you're going to learn what to do to remedy that.
I used to run with a group of people that had mustaches, and it rubbed off. Now I have a mustache. Okay. Next question, RJ. Is there any randomness to the people that come into our lives? Are we attracting everybody into our lives, or people just showing up? How does that kind of stuff work?
Yeah, it's a 100% total crapshoot. No, it is absolutely not. There is a science, there is metaphysics behind everything, from soul contracts to who is showing up in our life, the relationships that we're going through, the temporary energetic placeholders that we are using or misusing or misappropriating, which also has to do with who it is that's going to be showing up in our life, who continually shows up in our life. Why are we not breaking free of these things? Why do we have one person like this in this aspect of our life and then one person like this? There is nothing random at all. We are that powerful, and we're creating the whole thing. And when we start to see, when we have a much more holistic understanding and a much broader and deeper landscape of what is actually going on, and we're going to be able to use the teachings, the protocols, the exercises. It's always about the homework that will actually shift things internally, and then we're going to start to see that we have been the ones that is actually creating this. And there's an actual science how to attract the right person in love, life, business, friendships. It's not random. It's not a crapshoot. It's a science, and I can't wait to share it with people.
Okay, beautiful, RJ. So if we don't like the people that we've attracted up until this point in our lives, then you're saying there's something that we could do about it then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's a reason that the people that are in our lives are in our lives. It's not random. There is something going on. And of course, I'll break that down clearly, simply, and powerfully in the class. And all of these things, we are the power to create, and this includes who it is that we attract in our life and how to attract the right person. And yes, there is a perfect person for everybody. So if those of you that are self-identifying with the spiritual fiction of it's in my life plan not to have the perfect partner, it's in my life plan to struggle with this, it is not. It is not. You are the power itself, and the class will show you exactly how to do it.
What about the discernment, RJ, to know the difference between, those we should be spending time with and those we shouldn't? Is that something that's going to be discussed as well?
Yeah, that's absolutely. What a great question. Yes, we're going to discuss an actual system that I have created, remembered, downloaded, was given, which is all the same thing anyway. There's an actual system that we can use that will let us know. Shoulds and should nots are, probably not the right words, but I certainly understand what you mean. So there's what works and what doesn't work in terms of what we're trying to achieve. And there is a system that we can use that will illuminate what is working and what is not working. And once you actually see it, and you're the one that actually is actually working the metaphysics of the system through the exercises and the homework, and you tangibly see it, it will literally become impossible to deny.
Now, are we talking about the Dewey Decimal System here, RJ, or?
No, I use an abacus.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. And I never met Dewey. He seems like a nice guy, but I never met him. Have you?
No, anybody with the last name Decimal is kind of weird to me.
Did he have a stash?
If he did, we'd be friends, but he didn't. So I think that's a great way to discern who should be in your life and who shouldn't. Whoever has facial hair is you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Justin, you have it figured out. You already have it figured out.
Some of us do, and some of us don't. You know what I mean? Okay. So RJ, in a love sense, is there a perfect person out there for each one of us?
Well, if they're using ShamWow.
Or maybe in every sense, is there a perfect person in business? I think, a lot of times and this is just a thought, it's not me, but we feel like we're stuck with the people that are in our lives. You know what I mean? Whether it's business, friendship, or a relationship. So, is there perfect people in every one of these aspects of our lives that maybe we're not tapping into?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dreams are meant to be realized. That's why we have them. There is a perfect person in every aspect. And when we say perfect, I don't mean an actual perfect person, but a perfect match, a perfect complement, as opposed to actual perfection, right? But yes, there absolutely is. And if we feel stuck, or if we feel that that's not possible, or we feel there is going to be an actual part of the course, I'm going to break that down. I'm going to show you why you feel stuck. You'll see it in front of you, and then by doing the homework, you're going to realize that you're not stuck, and you're actually going to realize what can be done to change that. So we're not stuck. It means we're emanating a consistent frequency because we're running a specific program that we have misidentified ourselves with. And so we just end up getting the same result, which the result is the non-liberation or the change of exteriors. Hence, we think we're stuck with a certain partner in terms of love, or in terms of friendships, or in terms of business. Different understanding, different actions, different results. It's 100% not true.
Now, RJ, when you say perfect person, are we talking about like Vince from Slap Chop, or
I think you're setting the bar way too high by
he's kind of
using.
the perfect person in my eyes? You know,
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I mean, look at that face. If he had a mustache, he'd be even better. But
Good point. You're right.
anyway,
So even Vince has got things to work on.
that's true. Everyone can make some progress somewhere.
Yeah.
So RJ, with regard to the perfect person, what keeps us from finding that person? Is it our own things kind of getting in the way, or?
Oh, well, absolutely. Absolutely. The problem that we create is that we don't see the program that we're running. We don't see it because the conscious mind doesn't see what is behind it and what is making it operate in the way that it operates. So yeah, there is always a reason for everything, but we're not going to quote unquote figure it out through the mentalization, right? It is the cleaving away, right? It is the removal, and that's why we're having these issues, because we haven't learned how to cleave away properly. So that's why it's not about adding on, right? It's always about the more you add, the more you're taking away from what is whole and complete, what is already perfect. And so it does. There's no area of our life where it applies more than relationships. A long time ago, we have decided to continue the evolution of our consciousness through so-called relationships, or through so-called others, because way back when it wasn't like that. It was actually a very solo or solitary existence in terms of incarnation, and I'm talking about a long time ago. But what we found collectively, what we found is that there was a limitation in terms of the stimuli and the concept of separateness by only operating in solitude or by yourself. So we have decided to learn through relationships. This is one of the most important things. Learning how to attract the perfect partner in every single aspect of our life is essential to the quality of our life and trajectory. And there's an absolute science behind it, just like you said, just like science of manifestation. This works the same way. These are just tweaks. These are just tweaks a little bit downstream, which we'll uncover and utilize in the class.
So RJ, in this life, do we have our relationships, right, with like mom and dad and our significant other? In previous lives, could we have those same relationships with those same people, just in different, kind of dynamics or roles?
Yeah, I mean, your mom in this life could have definitely been your mom in another life. We typically reincarnate or incarnate, if however you want to say it, with the same. It's the same actors and actresses that keep showing up here, right? We talked about that in the 144,000 chosen, right? We kind of debunked all of the spiritual fiction. So we are constantly reincarnating with the exact same souls. It's the exact same actors and actresses that keep showing up here. Normally what changes, and if there is a normal, but what changes is the roles in which that we will interact with these same souls. So in one lifetime, that soul is your mom. In another lifetime, it's your brother. Another lifetime, it's your spouse. Another time, it's your mortal enemy. So we kind of just shift, and that way we can approach and learn from every possible perspective. And we do this with souls that again that we keep reincarnating with, because there's a level of familiarity, and because of that familiarity, it gives us a sense of, I'm going to use the word security and confidence, to take on bigger challenges within the roles that we're going to play during the incarnation, because there is a sense of familiarity with that soul, and that gives us a sense of confidence to take chances in terms of the roles and the challenges that we'll give ourselves during the incarnation.
I just want to say, RJ, thank you so much for that 144 class. It felt great just to know that I was chosen. I had known it subconsciously already, but just the fact that you just further confirmed that I was one of the chosen ones, just feels good. So I appreciate that.
I always knew it.
So RJ, that us kind of having all these different relationships and seeing it from all these other perspectives, like you said, it helps us with our evolution, right? So we can see all different sides. When we're done with this whole thing, like, are we joking around on the other side? Like, man, you were a real asshole, or like, wow, you really played that role well. You know what I mean?
Well, I think most of us at the end of the day are all going to come to the consensus that the word of the day is still fetus.
Okay. You can't feed us again. Okay.
Yeah. So to answer your question, even though I just did, but to answer your question, think of a stage play, right? So you have your protagonist and your antagonist, and when you're watching them, right, they're really going after each other. It seems real, like they're really into their character. You can feel the tension and this and that. And then as soon as the curtain draws, right, and they're all backstage, they're high-fiving each other. They're like, "Man, you were fantastic. That was absolutely great." So now I'm gonna add a caveat to that. When the immersion of deeply identifying yourself with the physical, all right, with the body, with the thoughts, with the emotions, with the bodily sensations, and therefore the experiences that the body has, when we have deep identification with that, people definitely, at that point it's not really people, but we're carrying personhood onward. And so sometimes souls will have to, quote unquote, recover. They don't want to interact. The residue of the interaction was so real that they carry it forward, but that is due to identification. So it's the answer is both. The answer is both. Just like they high five each other once the curtain comes down. My God, you were great. You really got me angry. That was fantastic. And then there are others that they carry it with them. So, and that has to do with identification. All suffering comes from identification. And so it's a bit of both.
Talk about holding a grudge, huh, RJ? It's not even over when it's over. You know what I mean? It just continues on.
I have a question though for you.
If it has anything to do with my mustache, I don't know if I can answer it.
No. How many slap chops was that?
Actually, that was a really good one. I don't know if you're ready for what. That one was really good. Dang it, I've never heard that before. Sorry, you guys. I apologize. Usually I'd have the slap chop rating ready, but I think that one needed a little extra thought.
No pressure.
4.5.
I'll take it.
Really good, RJ.
I'll take it. 4.5 is fantastic.
That was really good. Yeah. Anything we get to learn about what happens after here. It's just so funny. You know what I mean? Like, we come into this thing to have the experience, and it feels like the whole time we're having the experience, we're trying to figure out like what the hell's going on and what comes after. You know what I mean? So it's the circle of life. RJ, kind of bringing it back to the perfect person, though. Does this perfect person change, as we go throughout our lives? Obviously, I think we have seasons of our lives. I feel like I'm a different person now than I was when I was 20. So, do our relationships evolve as we do as well?
Well, when you say does the partner change, the partner may end up changing. Because you're changing, and that will then be reflected in the outer world. So and you kind of just said it. So maybe we'll just pick the number 20. At 20 years old, right? Your sense of self, and therefore your desires, your fears, your wants, the frequency, what you're emanating, what your goals are, right? That is emanating a very specific song, if you will. And the right person who's emanating in the same way will want to dance with you with that same song. Now, as you change, the song changes. And so what often happens is that a different partner, a different dance partner is appropriate. And because of the identifications and the attachments that we made, we block the perfect partner first. I'm going to get into that in the course, but yet to the answer is yes, but I don't necessarily think in the way that you were thinking, because it's really you. And remember our state of being. We talked about this in the money avatar class about all the different avatars, which are really just energetic placeholders, or at least that's what I call them, energetic placeholders, where we're placing our attention. And if you put your attention on something long enough, you're going to lose yourself in what it is that your attention is upon. And so we lose ourselves in the role, in the ideologies, in the beliefs, in the concepts, in our definition of success. So we lose ourselves in that. And then as we regain more of ourself, we shift from that temporary energetic placeholder and we cycle through, most likely, another temporary energetic placeholder. And oftentimes a different partner will be part of this cycling into a different energetic placeholder. The real key, well, you know what? The real key I'll talk about in the course.
Whoo, heavy cliffhanger. I think something cool, RJ, if it's not in the course already, is some signs, signs that it's time, signs that, maybe you've evolved past that, or whatever the case may be, but just signs though, because I think in relationships, it's never black and white. It's always kind of gray, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees, if you will, especially when you're emotionally involved, I feel like, but maybe that's just a thought. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, without a doubt, and without going on and on about that, absolutely. That's because we're not seeing someone for who they are. We're seeing someone from who we want them to be, what we're projecting onto them. And there's a science behind how to not do that anymore. So, but that has a lot to do with it. That has a lot to do with us creating our own stagnation, and next to stagnation is degradation. And this is what starts to happen to relationships. Is because we are projecting onto them. We're seeing them how we want to see them, or we say, deep down inside, they're a great person. Maybe the outer personality and the way that they live their life isn't necessarily reflective of that, and we refuse to acknowledge that, and we refuse to see that at our own peril. So, but we'll discover how to attract. I mean, definitively, we'll discover how to attract the right person in love, life, and business. There is a way to do it 100%.
So RJ, when I wanted to be more like Vince McMahon from Slap Chop, you think that was just a projection? I kind of was just seeing him how I wanted to see him, as a perfect person.
It's not Vince McMahon. That was Johnny Carson's sidekick on the Tonight Show.
Okay. I don't know if Vince is from Slap Chops. I don't know what his last name is. I apologize, Vince. I should know, because I always wanted to be like him,
I think you're well on your way.
I'm just a few mustache hairs away.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Okay,
and by the way, speaking of how that's all it takes, how long did it take to de-beard yourself?
Are you saying how many slap chops did it take?
That is what I'm saying.
RJ, it was quite a few.
Did you tap your beard right off?
That's right. I did, actually, and you would not believe what I manifested as a result of that, RJ. I don't even know if I can say it on air. Maybe I'll say it after this.
Yeah, let me know.
Maybe we'll give it away in the in the class, in the relationships class, if you guys want to join that. So,
if you're comfortable.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
RJ, do we grow apart from people? I know you said. I like how you said, like, what frequency we're at. We don't dance to the same song anymore. Kim, do we grow apart from people, or is it just the frequency, like you had said?
Yeah, it's the sense of self. So that everything is that. Everything is that. So, I mean, you can't grow apart from what you are part of. So in the deepest sense, you don't grow apart from the collective consciousness, from the oneness of things, because it is inescapable. None of us are actually going anywhere. Right. So, but in terms of what you're saying, do we grow apart? Yes, we grow apart because our sense of self changes. And as our sense of self changes, our focus changes, our desires change. What gives us fulfillment and purpose at, maybe 40 years old is very different than the sense of self and our sense of fulfillment and purpose that we have when we're 20. And these things do reflect themselves in who it is that we are attracting or not attracting when we're not being honest with ourselves, and when we're not even recognizing what is going on. Ultimately, you don't grow apart from what is whole, but from a very human perspective, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. RJ, we talked a little bit about like projecting. If we feel frustrated in our own relationships, or maybe like we're being mistreated or we're not being heard, is it possible to change how that other person is showing up in the relationship, or is that just us, like you said, projecting?
Well, whatever you accept, you deserve. And that's really how that works. But yes, there's a way to change everything. But you have to be working from being seated in the miracle machine. But yes, there is a way to change everything, but you can't do it from the ego mind identity perspective. You can't do it by focusing on what is outside of you. That's the illusion. So absolutely not. But yes, everything can change, but whatever you accept, you deserve. Whoa! Wow.
Really good. I mean, talk about a life principle, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't get what you deserve, only what you negotiate. That's another way to say it. But yeah, that was beautiful, RJ. I love that one.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, we don't give out too many 5s, so when we do, it's a celebration. You know what I mean?
I agree. That was fantastic. Thank you.
So, RJ, we can change the way other people show up in our lives. That's probably not the best way to go, right? Is it more of change yourself first than to try to change others? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that from my perspective, that would be like being deeply ingrained in the illusion. It's like looking at the mirror, waiting for the mirror to smile first before you smile. It's like trying to make other people change. It's just going to be very, very frustrating, right? It really has to do with how you operate, and we can even come back to what you accept you deserve. But there's a way to operate differently, and your partner will operate differently as they'll have no choice. They'll have no choice. Now, this is again, this is the enlightened metaphysics of how to actually do this, but 100% there's a way to do it, and it's certainly not through focusing on your partner. That's not how it works.
Very interesting. I'm sure you're going to go much deeper in the class. You guys jump in the class if you haven't already. First link in the comment section and the description. Now, RJ, how old is too old to find friends, find love, to find business partners? Is there an age where it's like, all right, you're done here? You know what I mean?
30.
Oh, God. Wow, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah. No, of course not. Of course not. There's no time, doesn't even exist. So no, there's no such thing. Okay, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's too late for me," or "I gave up on my dream," or "I'll never find the right." Again, spiritual fiction, total nonsense. That is a self-sabotage program running. The truth is actually the opposite. There's only now. It's never too late. You're never old. Once you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, then yeah, maybe 30 might be too old. But once you know how to do it, absolutely not. It's always now.
I'm never gonna be friends with Vince at this rate.
Don't say that.
Okay. I will be a beach ball, and I will be friends with Vince, not McMahon. I don't know what this guy's.
It could be. Wait, Vince McMahon is the. No, Ed McMahon. Wait a minute. I said Vince McMahon was Johnny Carson's sidekick. Ed McMahon was Johnny Carson's sidekick. Vince McMahon is the guy that does all the wrestling.
I just looked him up. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Did you say Ed McMahon before, or did you say Vince No, you said Vince.
I definitely had to say Vince because Vince is, the slap chop. It's Vince here with slap chop.
Okay. So yeah, I had that backwards. So Vince McMahon is like the WWE wrestling guy.
Maybe I could be friends with him too.
Maybe. I mean, once he sees this.
Oh, I mean, this kind of sells itself. You know what I mean? So, okay, sweet. So we're not too old. I think that's a beautiful way to go. Archie, do you have a magic trick for, figuring out whether or not you're running a program or not? Is there anything that can kind of give it away?
Is there a magic? Ask me that one more time.
I think you said that if your mind is made up, you're running a program. Yeah. Isn't that right? I was just looking for the quickest way to figure out whether or not we're running a program.
You got it. That's exactly right. You answered your own question. Justin will be interviewing himself for the next.
I'll take it from here, RJ.
That is 100% right. And I can remember, I don't know when I said that, but I remember saying some class or course or whatever. Again, so much talking, I don't remember when I said. Absolutely. That is the definitive way to know that you're running a program, that your mind is already made up, that your mind is closed. You have come to a permanent conclusion, which is the opposite of what is. So that is how you know if your mind is made up. 100%. Well done, Justin. 5 slap chops.
I was 5 slap chops. No, yeah, that's I love that one. That one's beautiful. So simple and elegant. Don't you always say that, RJ? Like truth is just simple. Like the more complex it is, the farther away it is from the truth. Something to that effect.
100%. The simplicity, right? The height of sophistication is simplicity, right? So there is an immediacy, there is a tangibility of the truth. It's immediate connection and resonance to the oneness of things. And if it's not like that, if there's this long sort of circuitous route, and then there's all these, again, pre-existing conditions and suppositions that have to be layered on top of that, that has how we've gotten to this new understanding. 99.9% of that stuff is absolutely false. The truth is instantaneous, and it's tangible. It is not complicated. It is only the fragmented, disjointed mind that complicates things, because it has separated itself from the source of knowingness or the oneness of things.
All right. I can't give away. How many 5s can we give away in a one? And what we give away 5 slap chops, dude. That was beautiful, RJ. And words will hit you too. Like when you can almost feel it when it hits. It's like, wow. And like when that happens, it's a 5 on the slap chop scale every time. You know.
Yeah, that's the resonance. That's the truth. That's the oneness. It's, and that's why I think people sometimes say, I remember that. It's not, it doesn't really matter. That's okay. But it's not a remembering. It's an acknowledgement of what is. It's an acknowledgement. And then often say, I knew that. I remember that. It's an acknowledgement of the oneness of things. And just like you said, it's instantaneous. It's tangible, and you can't deny it, because there's real tangible resonance to it.
Okay, RJ, this doesn't have anything to do with attracting a partner, but there's one thing that RJ said to me one time, and it was so beautiful, and it was so good. And it was about when you were paralyzed in the hospital and what you told the doctor. Can we share that on here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, do you want to say it? Do you remember what it was?
Well, I probably said a lot. Are you talking about that?
It was those who don't believe in the impossible shouldn't get in the way of the person who's I didn't say it as eloquently as you, but can you say it?
Those that say it is impossible shouldn't interrupt the ones that are doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That one got me really excited the first time I heard it. That was it's brilliant. So anyway, all that to say, hopefully there's still a chance to find some love out here, right, RJ? Do you think I still have a chance to?
I actually think what you've done facially.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you just threw the doors wide open to love.
What do you think? What do you think all this, like, what kind of vibration does this send out? You know what I mean?
Confusion.
Oh, okay. I would take this further, but this is YouTube, so we'll just leave it there. Okay. RJ, let's get into some not even spiritual fiction, just maybe spiritual buzzwords that you hear flown around. You know, maybe you can kind of shed some light on those. First and foremost, what is a twin flame?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Twin flame. Yeah, we hear that term. So a twin flame. So let's go back to, I think my octopus is back there, but if I had my stuffed animal. So anyway, think of your higher self as an octopus, and when it wants to experience the lower frequencies of the physical universe, it can't bring itself all the way down there. It's like a balloon losing its air. It doesn't work that way. It would have to lose sentience, give away sentience and energy. So it doesn't do that. It's deepening its reservoir of love and wisdom. And that's how it maintains its place within the multiverse. So when the higher self projects like an octopus with a tentacle, when the higher self projects an aspect of itself, and then that aspect, that single aspect, then splits into another. So this one is now become two. That is what a twin flame is. And that absolutely exists. That's a twin flame, but that is not what a soulmate is.
Can you give us an example of who had a twin flame, maybe? Do you know anybody?
An example of a twin flame.
If not, it's okay. I was just curious. So.
Well, I'm trying to think of one that's like wildly. Oh, of course, Milli Vanilli.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll take it. Milli Vanilli. Okay, excellent. Would you know if you were a twin flame? Like people are like, how do I find my twin flame? Like, that's something you wouldn't even know till after, right? Like,
I mean, I don't know. Don't look. I mean, stop seeking, stop looking, stop trying to complete oneself through others. That whole thing will just, you're only getting further and further away from yourself. So most of our incarnations are not, I shouldn't say most. Well, having an incarnation with a twin flame or a soulmate is not every day. It's not every incarnation. In fact, most incarnations, you're not working with the twin flame or a soulmate, and it's really irrelevant because there still is the perfect partner for you. There is the perfect partner in love, life, business, and friendships. There absolutely is. The twin flame is just an aspect of what is possible, where that one divides into two. But it's not about searching or seeking or looking for completion through outside of yourself. That is false light teachings. The talking about reuniting with my twin flame and this and that, don't bother. Master yourself and everything takes care of itself.
now, if you found them and you're like face to face, like would you do the same things? Like, would you both lift your hand at the same time? And
Okay, that's a mirror.
Okay, yeah. Is that? I could have swore I found my twin flame, but I guess not. Okay.
And mirrors are just frequency reflectors.
Really?
That's what they are. Yeah, they're frequency reflectors.
Is it okay
and what we use to trim our beard hair?
Of course. Or this, I just did this one, Anyway, RJ, next one that gets a lot of press and a lot of attention: soulmates. So what's a soulmate then?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. So
Can we Google it real quick?
Yeah, we'll just wing it. So a soulmate, we go back to our higher self. So a soulmate, when it projects an aspect of itself that would, you or me or whatever, projects an act, and then it projects another aspect from the same higher self. So that is a soulmate. That's what that is. And Jesus and Mary were soulmates. Mary Magdalene.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Super cool. Now, could we always think of soulmates and twin flames in terms of relationships, like with a significant other, but could they, pop up in our life in other areas? Like, could we have a soulmate that's also a business partner? Like, you know what I mean? Soulmate is the best friend.
Absolutely. That's more typical. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, or maybe I didn't really illuminate deeply enough. So most of the time, our life partner, husband, wife, whatever, is not technically your soulmate. And that's irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant. When you have an incarnation with your soulmate, it is normally incredibly tumultuous because you are literally face to face with another aspect of yourself, and then literally face to face with another aspect of yourself. So oftentimes it's tumultuous, really. And it's oftentimes too much, literally too much. That being said, the perfect partner exists in everything, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your soulmate. Your soulmate can be, just like you said, your soulmate can be your neighbor. Your soulmate could actually be your child, or it could be your business partner, right? It could be someone else who's someone else who has as stunning mustache as you do. Not likely. But yeah, soulmates can come in all forms and sizes. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I hope in the class, RJ, maybe you could tell us if you do or not. I hope you get into some of like the signs that you met somebody. I just feel like when I look back on my life, there were certain points where I met somebody and I could feel that it was like somebody that I was gonna, spend time with or connect with, or like it was gonna go a lot deeper. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Almost like intuition, like this person is put here like on purpose. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are going to talk about how to recognize, how to see relationships for what they are. What is the role of this relationship? Why has this person manifested within why have I attracted this person? Yeah, we're going to completely and utterly deconstruct the entire process in ways that it's not understood by humanity, certainly not taught, and certainly not understood.
It's such a crazy feeling when like you meet somebody for the first time, but like you felt like you've known them forever. You know what I mean? Kind of like the first time I heard you, RJ, I was like,
Mm.
God, just something about this guy. And then I listened to like 4 podcasts in a row, and then I was like, I got to reach out to this guy because it just sounds like somebody that I've known or something. You know?
Well, that's very true. I mean, that's how this works. Again, same souls keep coming back over and over again. So yeah, we have obviously we know each other, and those that are deeply affected, and are moved by my work, that's also a sign too. I mean, there's a reason for that. The energy and the sentience is familiar, right? And it kind of calls to you, and then when you connect with it, you're like, yes, that's it. So we all, at least in terms of with myself, we all tend to gravitate towards a specific teacher, a specific ascended master. We often work with more than one, but we often have this deep connection, deep relationship, and deep resonance with a specific master. And so for some people, that's very tangible for them. And as soon as they see that master or hear that master or read their work or whatever, there's that instantaneous connection and knowingness because it's true.
One of the things that I hope they could be touched on in the class as well is like it's one thing to get the sign, it's another thing to act on it. How many times like do we feel a pull and yet we never act? Like, I could have listened to your work and said, man, this guy's awesome, and like felt the pull to like reach out or whatever and never done it. You know what I mean? And that could happen in any relationship that I've had. So I just think that's another interesting piece to it.
Yeah, especially like when you get the sign to steal second base and the third base coach is giving you the sign to steal second and you don't. You got it. And now with that stash, by the way, I think like you could take this to another level. Yeah, the coach gives you the sign. It's like, take action, run on this next pitch, just go for it.
That's right, baby. Okay, sweet. Kind of makes you wonder what signs that you never, took action on. Maybe you can see that after it's all done, after it's all said and done. Okay, just a couple more questions for you, RJ.
All questions must be submitted in writing.
Okay. I'll have to send an email and then we can get back to this.
I'll wait.
Okay. What mantras are best for attracting a lover, RJ? Because there's a lot of stuff on YouTube about, say this and 24 hours later, text that and, 3 days later. You know what I mean? So you got any of those good mantras for us for lover attracting?
I do. I absolutely do, but there's work to be done. Mantras are not effective until we've cleaved away the programming remember I said about the more you add on, the more you're taking away, right? And this is part of why the approach must be to work with ourselves optimally. The approach must be to cleave away what is not germane to you. To first cleave it all away, to see it, bring it into the conscious mind, and then release those programs along with the constriction of your energy, which changes those two things, changes your frequency. Then at that point, when we actually layer on top powerful, authentic mantras, they're very, very effective. But if we do it in reverse, it does the opposite.
All those things are great, RJ, but what can I say right now? You know what I mean? I don't want to do all that work. That sounds like a lot of work, the cleaving. Is there a whistle? Is there a certain frequency whistle tone that
probably yeah, I don't know what it is, but there probably is something that absolves you of doing any work on yourself in any way.
I'm chosen. I don't know why I'm doing anything other than just being chosen. They don't put this stash on just anybody, this is
no I'm going to go back to what I said. Stunning.
Excuse me, ma'am, you're under arrest. Maybe that's the only mantra I need.
I'm going to add alluring.
Oh, word of the day. I'm hearing it.
No, fetus is going to be word of the day. It's
every day.
It's going to take something monumental to move me off of fetus being the word of the day. But not only stunning, but I'm going to go with alluring.
Ooh, breathtaking. Is that a little too far?
All right, don't get crazy.
Okay. I won't kid myself. Okay. Last question for you, RJ.
Yeah.
What about our family? Okay. They seem like the only ones that, we don't really get a say so in.
Yeah. Okay. It would certainly seem that way, but that's only due to amnesia. We pick our family. We pick the soul contracts. We pick the people that we're going to have these experiences. We just can't. I mean, we can, but you can't access that with your conscious mind. And because most of us are only using the thinking mind, then everything that we talk about will remain hidden and a mystery. But we absolutely choose our family. We are an immortal creator, unlimited immortal creator being. We are choosing and creating everything. There's nothing that escapes the power that we have as an immortal creator, including choosing our family. And then, of course, the fragmented, traumatized mind. Well, why would I choose so and so? We don't like each other. We have all this for the experience, so you can experience, learn, and evolve through that unique situation. That's why, because it's available. That's why, because it's challenging. That's why, for our own evolution, for our own growth, we choose everything, including our family.
Good to know. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Some of the stuff gets a little hectic sometimes. You know what I mean, RJ? Choosing your family, they're a little rough at times, you know?
Well,
why would I choose them?
I think that's the point, though. I mean, the growth comes from the challenge, right? So,
Sure.
And no one in general pushes our buttons like our family. And there's a reason for that. Like I just said, there's a reason for that. It's all a choice, and we're choosing it because there is exponential room for growth wherever we have the most triggers, wherever we have the most collapsed consciousness and constriction of energy, which is not what is. And so when we experience that, that's where the exponential growth is. And no one seems to be able to do that better than the family we incarnate into.
4 slap chops. That was good, RJ. That was really good. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of your base layer, your family. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of interesting. What you
now just remember, just to add to this.
Yep.
Family, for most of us when we're incarnate, family is a big deal. It means nothing once you're in disincarnate. Absolutely nothing. Zero. So just something to sort of hold those two things. So while we're here, it's a big deal. And then as soon as we're not here, it's not a big deal at all. It means absolutely nothing. It's just interesting. And I want to make sure people know that. It's kind of like all the things that we focus on here, right? Will not be the area of focus once we leave our body. It'll be all the things that we missed will be our area of focus, not what we had all our focus on while we were here. It's like what we missed will become of supreme importance. Just like family is such a big deal while we're here, and that's fine. And then when you're not here, it won't be at all. It's really interesting how that actually works.
Oh, there you go. You're ending it on a banger, RJ. 5 slap chops.
Wow.
This was a record setting. I think he probably had five slap chops. This is incredible.
That's amazing.
We focus on the things that they're not important after this.
Don't butcher it.
I'm sorry. You guys just rewinded.
Don't butcher it. Come on, man.
Well, it was so good and beautiful. I was just trying to relive it. So no, that was really incredible. Anyway, word of the day on this video.
Okay. As much as it pains me, I think no, I can't do it. Word of the day is fetus. I'm sticking with fetus. One more time. One more time.
For the video, comment down below fetus. We'll hashtag your real one. No, RJ, are you saying that there's no family after this? Because it's all one, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So family, it has to do with biological, right? It's the real family is in a sense, or I shouldn't say the real family. Let me say that the family that is or the family that is paramount is are the souls that you keep reincarnating with, right? So you can think of that as your soul family if you want to think of it that way. And that is not necessarily it could, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with biological in that sense, right? So let's just say like your son in this life, right, could be a soul. You and that soul incarnate together all the time, right? You have a great quote unquote working relationship. So in that sense, like the sense of family will transcend the biology, right? Because there's such a deep connection. And then the opposite can also be true. You may have a son or a daughter where obviously you love them and you have affinity for them, but there isn't that deep, and people feel weird about these kind of things. That's the don't have the tangible metaphysical understanding as to why. That's because that kind of connection in terms of constant reincarnation with that same soul is not as well established as, say, with another soul. And so in that sense, that's family. But it changes drastically once you leave your body.
Wow. God, RJ. You didn't slap the chop on this one, big guy. This was incredible. Wow, that was really good. Okay.
I'm just having a good day. It's probably the double espresso.
Yeah, and you're warmed up too, because the mustache, you get you all.
It's changed everything. It's changed everything for me. I can only imagine what it's done for you. I mean, my entire outlook, my ability to access what is feels greatly enhanced because of.
It's an amplifier, RJ. It is an amplifier.
It is.
I think for the next interview, maybe we matching stashes. Okay. If you guys want to see that, put that down in the comment section below. That could be a lot of fun. Anyway, word of the day is fetus. If you use it in a sentence, points. If you use it in a fun sentence, bonus points. So, anything else you want to mention, RJ?
Yeah, when we say fetus, we mean FETUS as opposed to FEED space US. I want to make sure that is understood. So fetus with a T.
Fetus.
Mm-hmm.
RJ, last words about, big class coming up. If you guys haven't signed up already, highly recommend, jumping in.
Yeah, this, I like I said, whatever you accept, you deserve. I mean, if you actually desire the perfect partner in your life, to have that companion as whether this is romance or friendship or business, there is actual metaphysical understandings of how to bring this about. It is just utter nonsense if you've bought into the narrative that you're not meant to have love in your life, or I'm meant to struggle with business, or I'm meant to be solitary in this. This is just garbage. It's absolute garbage. It probably doesn't even feel right. Right? It doesn't feel right. And then people sympathize with it. Sympathy is the affirmation of imperfection. And it's not what is. So if you want to learn how to do this properly and optimally, it is my honor to share that with you in terms of taking the class.
Sympathy is the... Say it, RJ, I'll butcher it.
Sympathy is not accessible when you have short-term memory damage.
Whoa.
Sympathy is the affirmation of imperfection.
Wow.
It's not.
Wrap your mind around that.
Yeah, it's not what is.
Right.
Because imperfection doesn't exist.
Obviously.
You've proven that today. You've proved that over and over, by the way, but you've really proven it today without question.
I'm chosen. So part of that 144. There's not a lot of us out there, but the ones that there are, you'll know when you see them. So
yeah, it just sucks because I'm the 145,000. So I just missed out.
Or if you were just, hey, look, there's always the next go around. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Well, not really, but. Okay, sweet. Thank you guys for joining us. This video is brought to you by Slapchop and ShamWow, our sponsors for this video. We're going to conclude the video with ShamWow's warranty information. RJ,
please do.
Just a brief read, front and back, if you guys can bear with us. First and foremost, what this warranty covers: 10-year warranty. All ShamWow products come with a limited warranty. I'm just kidding.
That warranty is just as important, powerful, and life-altering as the Declaration of Independence. At least that's how I feel about the ShamWow warranty.
10 Commandments, RJ? What about, how's it stack up against those?
Oh, it's better than that.
Okay. I mean, let's be honest. This came from up above. Like, it's that good. Anyway.
It's obvious.
Anything else you want to mention, RJ? We're good?
I'm going to mention that my new book, again, is targeted for August 8th. And I say this without any hyperbole. It is the best book I've ever read. I just so happen to have written it. I can't wait until this book is out there. I can't wait. The Law of Attention, August 8th.
preview maybe? You got anything for us from the book?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us, RJ. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise. I'll see you soon, Justin.
Okay. Bye.